Shall I start?
Yeah, start. Yeah.
Good evening to you all. Welcome. Councillor Mike Johnston, Sharon Sherwin, Deputy Clerk, here keeping me in order, and fellow councillors. When do I have to? Oh yes. When do I read this one out then? Now?
No. When you get to
After...
Yeah. You can read that one out now.
Yeah, I'm obliged to read this to you. Portishead Town Council Fire Safety and Recording Council Meetings. Okay, there are fire exits located down the main stairs of the building and via the fire exit door and metal staircase to the outside. The fire evacuation meeting point is in the car park opposite the folk hall. We are not expecting a fire drill this evening, so if the alarm sounds, make a hasty retreat. We'll take a roll call of you two in the car park. So, subject to Standing Order 413, a person who attends a meeting is permitted to report on the meeting whilst the meeting is open to the public. To report means to film, photograph, make an audio recording of meeting proceedings, use other means for enabling persons not present to see or hear the meeting as it takes place or later, or to report or to provide oral or written commentary about the meeting so that the report or commentary is available as the meeting takes place or later to persons not present. Further detail is given in the Portishead Town Council Filming and Recording Policy, C8, and Portishead Town Council Behaviour Policy, 413. A person present at the meeting may not provide an oral report or oral commentary about a meeting as it takes place without consent. Right. Done. So apologies for absence. Bob Cartwright.
And Carol Preston, Councillor Preston.
And Tim might turn up.
Yeah.
He will be on his way.
He's running late. Yeah.
Okay, declaration of councillors' interests. As we go around the table, I have nothing to declare.
I have nothing to declare.
None that I'm aware of.
None that I'm aware of.
None that I'm aware of either.
Okay. Moving on to receive the chairman's report. North Somerset Council's Highways Improvement Scheme Delivery Programme. The link from North Somerset Council will be issued for members to explore, but this is for internal viewing only. I need to talk to you too about the Brampton Way business. Potential survey closure of M5 between junctions 20 and 21. To keep up to date on daily closures, go to the website, National Highways. Public Space Protection Orders, PSPO, in Portishead, North Somerset Council's executive meeting on the 6th of September, elected to renew with effect from the 16th of October, to renew the orders relating to Portishead Promenade and Portishead Marina, but not Portishead Sportsfield, in accordance with the Town Council's objections as landowner. 4.4. Parish Council's Airport Association, the PCAA, minutes of meetings 12th of 10th, 23, and PCAA finance report available from the council office. Right. Public participation relating to meeting agenda items. So we'll, subject to your approval, we'll bring Glenn Orkey up the list of applications when we come to talk about them. So we'll deal with Glenn Orkey first on the agenda, but we're now open to hear from yourselves. Yes, if you just repeat your name, so you know.
Just for the recording.
Justine Flower in Coppercliff, Slate Road in Graham Flower, and I'm speaking on behalf of all of our neighbours today, some of whom, as we said, can't come along, who wanted to come along. And apologies for reading my notes. So I would, first of all, I'd like to really thank you all for your ongoing support with this development. Much appreciated. We did have some good news yesterday. The application to extend the main house every which way was refused outright. The key reasons given were appearance, character and materials all being out of keeping with the laid grounds, unacceptable overlooking of neighbours, and mass and scale resulting in unacceptable overbearing and overshadowing. So now we're waiting for the decision on 1824, which is the conversion of the garage into a new 3-bed dwelling. Hopefully maybe Tim might be able to give us some update on that. And so this is the third application for the development property area, and to gain North Somerset's agreement that proposed works are agreed as permitted development. Now, there's clear guidelines around permitted development and certificates of lawful development on both the government website and the North Somerset website. One of those is to include clear and precise information. The developers have included a one-page document with both missing and inaccurate information. The key points for that are that there's no visuals to show impact on neighbours or the wider vicinity, no landscaping, despite that being in the title, and the tally of parking spaces excludes the 2 spaces in the garage. Information appears to overlap and contradict at that point when I wrote it, not decided, 1823 and 1824. So I sent some information around at the weekend. Hopefully you've all had a chance to look through it. I haven't printed all that off again. I bought one more bit of photoshopping that we've done that I'll share with you in a bit. So I'll just go through some of the key points now to highlight our neighbours' beliefs that these works shouldn't be classed as permitted development. So firstly, around mass and scale. Digging out the whole garden by 2 metres at the top to about 4 metres at the road end, I believe is enormous scale. It's a long garden, and we believe contravenes not only permitted development guidelines, but also DM 38 and CS5 section 3.8. For the land levels in the topography report, which they did include, the proposal would mean digging out to the same levels as in 1824. I'm sure you're already aware, Grafton Lodge in Battery Lane has just had to apply for retrospective planning permission for digging out a much smaller area of frontage. Secondly, land stability. So as the amount of garden to be removed is the same as 1824, so therefore is the amount of bedrock. We do not feel that this should be an uncontrolled or conditioned process, given the enormity of both the construction work and the impact on neighbouring properties at our end of Lake Road. All the neighbours are concerned about immediate or after effects, the unknown element of which has been corroborated by a local geologist. So that's around subsidence, slope failure, structural issues, and, quote, unknown geotechnical issues. 1824, as part of the documents on the system, has had some comments by the HTDM Highways, which stated that for that proposal, if plans are approved, there should be a condition that a construction management plan is required. So surely the same must apply here for the same works. Those works, per our objections for 1824, also we believe contravene CS5 section 3.79 and NPPF section 174. I've put those in more detail in my other notes. Thirdly, appearance and character. So I've included some photos on what I sent round on Sunday. However, I've had an amateur stab at some more photoshopping, which I will share with you now. Do you want to pass down that way? Sticking together.
Thank you.
Sorry, last one.
Oh, yes.
You got one.
So this is quite difficult to do the 3D, but on the left-hand one is the view from the bottom of the drive.
Yep.
Where I've circled in red, that whole lot of that garden would go visually, and we believe, because there's nothing on landscaping, we have to go at face value, that this is what it would look like. There's going to be the parking that was per the 1824, but then they're basically, if you imagine the long drive like I've got this, they're going to go long up, long up, long up, and then digging out, so you'd see the back of what is already the garage. So Article 4 allows local planning authorities to withdraw or restrict permitted development rights to protect the special character and appearance of areas. The Lake Grounds and Portisford Bay are obviously one of the 4 character areas in the neighbourhood plan, and we note that his has been mentioned and included as in the first reason for refusal for 1823. So we believe that the neighbourhood plan would or should now be an Article 4 specific thing, seeing as it's all approved. CS12, DM32, DM38 and NPPF Section 124, which includes residential gardens, would also not be adhered to. Once a bedrock is removed, it can't be replaced. You can't just bung some soil back and create a new garden. No landscaping is shown because the developers are based in the US and want a low maintenance garden. Their one-pager plan, however, says all surfaces will be water permeable, i.e., we believe no trees, bushes or grass is actually intended. This would be totally out of character with the rest of the area. You see on the bottom of here, I've put examples of water permeable surfaces. Why would they have put that if it was not for this whole area? Because you've already got the grass and the road at the bottom. So examples are porous asphalt, gravel and stone chips, or that grasscrete stuff, you know, concrete bits that you can drive on. We have looked at approvals and conditions for our property, Copper Cliffs, and when the front terraces were created, not only was planning permission required, but there was a condition that the landscaping scheme had to be submitted and approved before any works could start, plant by plant.
Okay.
So parking, as per 1824, but now stated to be for a single 4-bed dwelling. 1824 is for the 3-bed new dwelling, even though 1824 is not yet decided. So this creates 2 new precedents: parking perpendicular to the road with no grass verge, and retaining walls right to the edge of the road. 1 metre walls are suggested, which is what the permitted guidelines say as a rule. But I know from when I stand at the bottom of the drive, and the topology report shows the height of the bedrock, which is visible there, is 3 to 4 metres high. So what's going to hold up what? Copper Cliffs and Ship Lanes had to get planning permission for parking, and we're only allowed 1 parallel to the road space. Spindrift, which is up the other end by the cricket club, had to keep the grass verge and move the parking further in. Now, there's only 2 houses that own the grass verge on Lake Road, Spindrift and Glenorchy. So Spindrift's been told that they have to keep the grass verge even though they keep it and park in more. So approvals surely must be required here, and isn't it unfair to others who have had to gain permission and adhere conditions if this property doesn't have to? Sewers and drainage. Shared sewers haven't been mentioned at all. The retaining walls appear to cross right over them. Wessex Water would need to approve works for that. And building regs H4 says that there should be no pile drilling permitted within 15 metres of shared sewers. Now, if it's bedrock, to me, that's pile drilling. And they actually did have to do piles when they did the survey. And there's no plans for drainage at all. 1824 said that that was still to be considered, but water butts were mentioned. I don't believe water butts is a solution for a massive garden that is sodden all year or winter. And if there's no garden left, where will all the water go? I've just put on here as well that because we've discovered, since they're not there, they're back in America now till April, but some contractors came on site and finally told me the reason that they're there is because they've got Japanese knotweed. So I don't know how that impacts on planning, but it certainly is probably going to impact on all of us as neighbours. So in summary then, we believe it's crucial that these proposed works are not agreed to be permitted development, as without planning approval conditions and controls, the impact and consequences which could not be reversed on neighbours and the character area of the lake ground, which the neighbourhood plan seeks to protect and enhance, are hugely negative. All aspects of the works require controls and conditions that other residents in Lake Road have all had to gain planning permission for and comply with. Shall I start again, Tim? That's it.
Thank you.
Any questions?
If I could just add one bit, I would suggest that what they're trying to do is dig out the 2 metres to expose the full side garage. So then later come back.
There'll be a
and
fourth one.
a fourth one to convert that into a living space, because they can put windows on the side of it, because otherwise, because basically at the moment there's only about 1.5 metres protruding from the garden. So I think it basically
Try and
it's
get
slowly,
one bed,
it's
whatever.
slowly trying to get to.
Ship them away.
So just note you're against the proposals.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
okay.
yeah. Thanks.
Am I-
Before we go any further and take any debate, can we just visit Tim's declarations?
Well,
There's a form signed as per usual. Can I just ask you a question? Am I right in thinking that when the submission was put in for permitted development, that in answer to the following question, does the proposal consist of or include a change of use of the land or building? It was signed off no,
Yeah, I believe it was, yeah.
Yeah.
which is
Yeah.
obviously incorrect.
Well, it would imply that, no, I think at the moment they're just saying we want to put 2 parking spaces and dig a whole garden out.
Yeah, this one, when they, at face value, that's the only one we can look at. We don't know what's going to come next.
True enough, true
And
enough.
they don't, to enable them to have 4 spaces, but currently they've got 4 spaces, they've got double garage.
Yeah,
So, the whole thing doesn't hang together. So,
yeah.
Yeah,
Which
they
makes,
contradict each
which
other.
makes us believe that yes, this is a slowly catchy
Yeah.
monkey.
But we're all in agreement that we feel that the 2 planning applications are very linked together,
Oh,
aren't they?
definitely, yeah.
Yeah.
This one, this permitted development is basically 1824 without the property stacked on the top.
But basically, they need to go for formal planning permission, I think is what we're basically saying. But it's this, they're trying to, under permitted development, there'll be no controls, there'll be no conditions. And having seen the conditions that have been laid down in the refusal for the extension, for the massive extension of the house, there are a lot of conditions in there which would be applicable
To this.
to this.
Yeah.
Well, and 1824.
But without this being approved, of course, it makes 1824 that much more difficult or impossible to do.
Well, it's in 1824. 1824 included digging it all around,
Yeah.
putting a 3-bedroom house and putting the...
Yes, I think if they approved 1824, there's no need for this. Why have you done this?
Mhm.
So I think they believe, understand they're not going to collect 1824, so although that's waiting for the final decision.
Heard any news on that, Tim, from Kyle?
nothing yet, no.
Yeah.
No.
He did a great job on the first
He's only
one.
just, I'm assuming he's only just come back from his break.
Yeah, it would have done, yeah.
So, yeah.
So, councillors, first of all, we have to approve the minutes of the last meeting, don't we, before we go into debate on this?
Would you guys think a little bit?
October's meeting, it's been amended now.
I was going to say, has it been amended
Yes,
to,
yes.
to put me in there?
There you are. So are we in agreement to approve the minutes from last meeting?
Yeah.
Roger proposing, right?
I'll sign them all up later.
Debate, yeah, no problem.
Right,
You
fine.
just do a quick vote, be all right, yeah?
Oh, yes, we're all in favour, aren't we? Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. So, open to debate on this application now. Or comments. I've written a few comments down here because we have to if we're all in agreement that it's not going to get our approval, then we need to have some wording to form.
Am I right that we're not a statutory consultee on this one anyway?
Apparently.
They've not had any, there's no consultees.
Because it's just a certificate of lawful development, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we can
But-
make comments.
But we can comment on it.
We can.
And we did, Tim probably remembers from down in North Somerset, we had a certificate of lawful development in Abbots Lee for some allotments, which sought to get around all manner of planning issues to do with access and stuff like that. And under great pressure from the officers, the planning officers, to actually approve that, it was turned down in the end. So it is possible to go against these things, and where it's being done under permitted development, where it wouldn't normally get through on planning, I think it's a bit tongue in cheek. That's my feeling.
Yeah.
They put these applications in the hope, don't they, that they're going to get something through. And yeah, I think really full planning is the way to go. That's the way that most places would deal with this. They attempted full planning, they didn't get it. They're now attempting this, well within their rights to try it. But I think our comment should be essentially that we believe it should be subject to full planning.
Indeed. Do we want to add to that in terms of what we've heard this evening in relation to some of all the other evidence piling up against?
Yeah, that's me. So somebody else.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting one. I mean, obviously I wasn't here for the last meeting when it was discussed. I mean, it feels like a child coming back to you when you said no to having a sweet. So they're going to come back to you with another question. You say no again, or they're going to twist it another way, and that's what this feels like. They're being told no, so they're going to go around it another way. Well, we all have to follow the rules, so they should follow the rules, and it does not seem to me that this should be allowed under any permitted development whatsoever, because what they're opening up is potentially a can of worms to develop down the line, and it just feels as if this is just kind of, if they can get the first card stacked up and in the ground, that's then going to open, because then the precedent would have been set for the area then, and then it can kind of keep going. That's what it feels like. So I think if we don't stand our ground and say actually no, you either follow the rules, follow the process, or you don't go with it. It's as simple as that. You've got two choices. My opinion is that the rules aren't being followed. It shouldn't be considered to be permitted under permitted development, because very clearly, with what we've been shown this evening and what we've seen anyway, this is not permitted development, because they're doing too much work to it. They're altering the whole area, and then the knock-on effect is to the wider area, that what is it going to have, drainage, the view. Look at what people have had to do naturally in the area around the town. We have to do certain things for the skate park to get the skate park through. It can't be seen too much, and we have to make it blend in and so on and so on. So you can't just come roughshod and just do what you want. It's not how the rules work. You follow the rules. So I would say that we politely say no on the fact that we don't feel it's anywhere near permitted development. They're trying to circumnavigate the rules, and they should be required to put a full planning application in and actually state the real reasons why they're doing this.
Well, I'm assuming that 1824 was a full planning application, wasn't
Yeah, it's not signed off yet.
Yeah,
I know.
but that's part one though, isn't it?
Yes, but so it's already lodged, isn't it, in a sense?
Yeah, it is. But the point is, so they're trying the hand with the left hand, they're now trying with the right hand. So which one are they going to get first? That's what they're trying for. So in my opinion, looking at this holistically, part one should be a straight no, part two should be a straight no, and go to planning and ask the question again. But if you're going to say no to one, then how can you say anything other than no to two?
Yeah, sure.
Because you've already set your precedent then. So this for me, number one is probably the kingpin here. Because if North Somerset are minded to say no, then surely the rest has to be no. But if they say the other way, the kind of can is opened, isn't it? And that's the problem. So I think we have to politely fight back on the grounds that it's not going to be in keeping with the area. It's going to look completely horrendous. And the issues it's going to create, potentially, we probably can't stop it once if it was to get through.
If it was to get through again, you're right.
Some of the stuff you can't stop because the damage could be irreparable. And you know as well as I do, you've seen developments around the country, whatever, when they do something and they kind of too close to drains or too close to this, or they damage the kind of the base layer underneath where the water goes and flows through, you can never return it to what it was, ever, no matter what you try. No matter what clever geologists you have or whatever, you can never return it to what it was. So we have to be very careful here about where this goes, because this could, as I say, undo a whole can.
So it's a question of forming a
formulated response.
A nice paragraph in which we.
I think we can take snippets of what we've said, and then just.
I've written a paragraph here. Yeah. I'll read it out and see whether you feel it's appropriate. So we'll add it to what Roger's already said. PGC considered that the removal of the existing rock and mature inclined garden, replacing it with a level platform of retaining walls, parking bays, and proposed dwelling, well, maybe I have to keep that out, would result in this narrow plot's position in the streetscape of Lake Road being severely and permanently compromised. Under section DM39 of the PNP, it is felt, Portishead neighbourhood plan, it is felt that the locally valued heritage asset comprising of the lake grounds and surrounding area will be permanently harmed. Something on those grounds?
Sounds quite reasonable.
Yeah, I think I'd say check out the bit about,
You have to take out the dwelling bit.
Yeah,
because
dwelling
they're not proposing a dwelling under
So-
community development.
I think check out that bit, and I don't have an issue with the wording.
Can I ask a question? Sorry. Is it possible to make a recommendation that if they are minded to refuse 1824, they actually say that each bit of it, dwelling, digging out the garden and parking, each bit is refused, so that we don't get them coming back time and time again with different iteration?
I think we
answer
can
to that
ask
one.
Is
that.
that a thing?
I mean, we've seen with other planning applications where they've refused it on one specific thing, and where a number of things were maybe people were unhappy about, and then that's used later against them to say, well, you didn't object to that last time.
Yeah.
So I know where you're coming from on that one, and yeah, no reason why we couldn't.
And it's assumed that
But-
it's
but
one
that's-
planning officer dealing with both applications.
But I was going to say
Yeah,
that's,
two or three.
but that's 1824, and that's not on our agenda, is it?
No, it's been through.
We've done that, yeah.
Yeah, so I think we'd have to.
2055.
It must have been September because it's
Yeah,
not
we
on
probably
there.
have to ask the ward councillor if he could raise that with the head of planning, I think. Whoever the ward councillor may be, wherever he could be, yes. So yeah, I think that one might have to fall to Tim.
Haven't you? It's
Yeah.
called in, so.
Did they let you call this one in?
Well, I called everything in, and then they said, off on holiday, they'd have a look at it. And if they are minded to approve, then they will call it in for me.
Good. They didn't object like last time then? No. I think we taught them a lesson last time.
Yeah.
Good. Right.
Okay, so we're all in agreement about that. Can we have a proposed and a second to that? Martin, Ben, all in favour of
Yes.
objection?
Sorry, was that Emma?
It was Ben, Martin.
Yeah,
and
I got
Ben.
the Martin one, so.
Right,
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank
Thank you for coming
Sharon,
down.
do you want mine?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye for now. Okay, so we'll go back to the agenda and we'll look at 1961, 22 Riverlees, proposed direction, single story rear extension, infill extension to join two existing front dormers into one large dormer, removal of existing chimney stack and part demolition, replacement of existing boundary wall at the west elevation. This is down by the seafront, the waterfront. I have no objection to it. I felt that it was pretty invisible really to most people. Comments from the floor?
Can't see it makes a difference to anybody that's surrounding it, really.
They're only in filling it to a degree. They're not doing anything that's kind of completely
No.
crazy, are they?
No.
And I'm keeping with the area.
No.
I don't personally see any reason why we would
Object to
object
it. Okay.
Is this another one where we're not a statutory consultee?
We are, it was
No,
an
we're-
extension.
It's Matthew H is full one, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, so it's a-
For some reason, there's a time extension requested. That must have been from last October then. It must have come on the back.
Yeah, it came
The,
late
It
before the
came
last
late,
one.
yeah. So,
I skipped that one because it was coloured in.
no objection?
I have no
Proposer and
objection.
seconder?
Happy to propose it.
Second it.
Thank you. All in favour of no objection? Unanimous. 2 Chalcombe Rise, 2048, proposed garage conversion and extension, including the installation of 4 roof lights along with multiple window doors at all elevations to form a residential annex. Okay,
This is not a granny
tricky
flat,
one.
is it? Yeah.
on the grounds that it is detached, the garage, and it's going to get converted as proposed into a granny annex, which is completely removed from the house and its garden. It's got a separate entrance and et cetera, and all the services to it.
Don't like it.
I don't like it.
No.
I objected to it. I haven't been and spoken to the proposers of this. So comments from you all? Because we've got a second one coming up later, which of course is much the same, and I object to this one, but not to the other. So it's, it's a
Well,
bit of a,
this is going to set a precedent if we're not careful, because I don't think it fits in with the rest of the estate.
no, that's one of the
Personally.
things I agree with.
And we're just going to set a precedent here, because this is never going to be a granny flat, is it?
When does a
Let's
granny
be
annex
fair.
become a bit Airbnb? That
Well,
sort of thing.
exactly, yeah, quite. That was my feeling
10
about it.
minutes after it's done.
There's an awful lot of glass in it. It's overlooking just everybody, isn't it, from side to sin. So overlooking issues, probably parking issues, I would
Like to
imagine.
say parking's going to be,
Yeah,
if it becomes an issue, couldn't it? You should take
yeah,
out double
just taking
garage.
out the garage. So I thought it might have actually breached requirements for parking.
Yeah, possibly.
Yeah.
Which might get addressed by the loss of their garden. We don't know that. Yeah. There's potentially, it's just a little kind of cul-de-sac, isn't it,
there
off
is,
of
yeah,
the
yeah.
main area, but
So it's accessed by a council-owned road. That lane is an NSC lane. So
So I object. I propose objection.
Second that one.
I mean, I don't disagree. I think, yeah, it's just not in keeping with the area. I think Roger's kind of put his thumb on this one a little bit. This fact that it could lead to something
It's
else
not glass,
potentially.
isn't it?
And that whole area it's not
not
great for
granny
parking,
flat.
is it? All these
Sorry,
new
I don't
developments
believe
around the
it
whole
is.
of the town are great for parking.
No, I mean,
So it's we don't know where the parking situation is going to be resolved, but by putting it in, you're potentially adding another 2 or 3 people to the area that's part of the site, which then could add to another 2 or 3 cars.
well, as Martin says, it sets a precedent, and
Yeah.
all those houses, as big as they are, have all
Yeah.
got double garages, and what's stopping everyone converting them into
exactly,
granny
yeah.
accesses? Before you know it, you've got a sort of double-sized estate, and it just doesn't lend itself, in my opinion, to conversion in this.
I think we should object on 2 things. One, it's setting the precedent that this is completely out of keeping with the area, but 2, that it potentially that we ensure that North Somerset, if they were minded to approve it, then they rigorously enforce their own parking guidelines, which they fail to enforce 9 times out of 10. But maybe for once they might actually enforce it. But I would object. I don't think it's right at all.
I was going to say that I'm just looking desperately through the plans here. I can't see a proposed floor plan for it.
No,
there is
there
a
is
floor-
one.
Yeah,
Yeah, there is one.
there.
Everyone
Because
within it.
It's just a one-bedroom, obviously.
it adds
Small.
the kitchen and there is
It's one room, isn't it, with a kitchenette at one end?
So if it's a one
Lounge.
bedroom, then it has to have its own parking space, one parking space, I think.
Which it
isn't
does.
for one bedroom.
No, well, no.
But then doesn't the main house have to have 2 parking spaces anyway?
Yep.
Yeah,
And
we-
if
that's
that's
right,
using
we
one
do.
of them, then they
Well,
they can't reallocate
Well,
that.
exactly.
It's
'Cause you've already taken
allocated.
out the garage, which is 2.
Yeah.
You're then creating another one for the annex. Well, yes, it's 1 bedroom. You can still have 2 people in it, which could still provide 2 cars.
Absolutely.
So there's a lot of things that we don't know here. But I think if we don't ask the question, then we lose our chance. So we have to ask the question. I think we object to the fact that 1, it's not in keeping with the area. 2, there are concerns around parking.
So I've written here, objects out of keeping with the area, non-compliance with NSC parking standards for the original house and annex.
Yep.
Yeah, so changing it, obviously.
Yeah.
And I think, Emma, you raised this issue about the overlooking, didn't you, the windows?
Yeah, it was just if North Somerset are minded to approve it, then the specification of use of it being a granny annex and then being, replaced as a garage after, any case that it's not needed anymore, with the glazing but apart from that, the parking.
Yeah, I'm not sure that that it actually overlooks anybody anyway, but
No, they're a bit of way away.
Well,
aren't they?
no.
Does it show more than one parking space?
No.
No, just the one.
Just the one. And the dwelling and annex gardens not specified, so the only parking that, unless that area there was actually made into a driveway area, would mean I think the parking would be at the front of the house, which is on the road.
I was going to say the only counter argument would be that Portishead is short of small 1 and 2 bed properties, and that would work in its favour, I would guess. Because planning will have to weigh up, won't they? So they might be able to use that in favour. Overlooking doesn't seem to be a big
really.
issue there, but parking and not in keeping are probably the two strongest ones
Definitely.
that planning would actually take note of.
Also short of parking spaces in Portishead, but
Yeah, that's all right, because we're just going to charge for them, so it'll be fine.
don't even go there.
Okay,
Sorry.
so I sense this is an objection then.
Yep.
And do we have a proposer for it?
Me.
Martin, a seconder. Roger.
Yeah.
All in favour then of objection? Unanimous. Thank you. Next one is 2119, advertising.
Isn't it? As is.
The what, sorry?
This is the Emma code.
It is.
Yeah, the
Yes.
Poundland. Yeah, so application for advertisement consent for the replacement of 3 internal illuminated signs. Well, this is what it is, isn't it?
I think the
No
only
objection.
real objection to an internal illuminated sign is if it shines straight into someone's bedroom window or something.
Yeah.
Unlikely.
So yes, assuming no objections from someone who happens to live directly opposite, then there's not a lot we can do about it anyway.
Proposer? No objection. Ben, seconder. Martin? All in favour? No objection. All of us. Okay, 1A Victoria Square, 2145 Phoenix Bar. Proposed demolition of the existing conservatory and external stairwell, erection of single-storey rear extension pergola at the rear boundary, and installation of a new external stairwell. So the pergola, of course, is at the front. So although it's a rear boundary, it's at the front. And I think you made a good point about the 3-sided. Someone, was you, wasn't it?
It was a public comment actually.
Yeah, okay.
I just pointed it out that it was suggested that if the pergola is the new smoking area from the rear to the front, because it butts up against adjacent homes,
Yes.
for protection of sound and for the smoke, it should potentially have 3 sides.
Yep.
Or
I think
2 sides, or whichever way.
It's a good point.
Yeah.
I was going to say, if it's a smoking area, you're limited on the number of sides you're allowed.
You are,
yeah.
yeah. So that 2 sides or 3 sides. I think it suggested, we might have suggested 3 sides in the public comment, but yeah, whatever's permissible. But yeah. So,
Yeah, I think 3 sides might be construed building now.
yeah.
Because bus stops with sides, you weren't allowed to smoke in those, but the ones with outside, you were allowed to smoke in or something, wasn't it? It's been a long time since we had to worry about that. But yes.
In bus stops.
Ideally, they wouldn't need one, but we're not there yet.
No.
So, no objections?
No, just a comment. I think obviously the pergola's there, but actually, whether you drink now or not, I don't know. But when you're there, people are smoking out the back anyway. So what's the difference? Whether you put signs on it or not, they're already smoking out the back.
Smoking area is closer to the building, which isn't the front of the gardens, are further in front.
My argument would be there's a big wall there. It's about a 3 metre high wall, then with space, then the house. So I, in my opinion, I don't see whether you put 1 side, 2 sides, 3 sides, or 4 sides on it. In my opinion, it's slightly irrelevant. It's in fresh air. I think it's a way, because if they stick it to the same place as it is now, you're still about a metre away from the wall anyway, because you've got the big white wall, you've got a low level planting thing, you've then got a bit of a gap, you've then got the pergola.
Yeah.
I only know it as well as I know it because I put the Christmas lights up and I have to get out the back of that to get the lights up. So in my mind, I don't see any issue with this whatsoever, and it's perfectly fine, and they've been talking about not going to consider it down for a long time.
Yeah.
So I'm happy to propose that it goes ahead. I don't see an issue with it. I have no objection at all to it.
Good, good. So you're proposing it?
Yeah.
Okay, second up, Roger. All in favour of no objection? All of us? Okay, thank you. 2148 11 Albert Road, proposed erection of a single-storey granny annex office at the rear of the property. And this one is quite large. I have a drawing, for those of you, to remind you, somewhere.
Another already congested road.
Yeah, I was going to say I did know earlier that there's been an Environment Agency report posted today on that, recommending refusal because there's no flood risk assessment.
Really?
Really?
Yeah.
It's a bit sort of far from
It's not
the...
going to get flooded up there.
Oh, yeah.
Albert Road?
Yeah.
Albert Road,
And
right,
Brampton Way flooded, what did it?
right by the Reen,
My
Victoria
garden.
Square flooded
Yeah.
some years back.
Yeah, they
When
Oh,
the
sluice
didn't know
gates
that.
there.
someone
Okay.
left the sluice gate open
Yeah.
at high tide and it flooded Victoria Square and probably Albert Road as well. To be
Oh,
totally
right.
honest, it's quite low lying, isn't it? Like
Yes,
Brampton.
it is.
There is a flood risk assessment with it.
There it is. It goes right across the back garden. It's quite large. I tried to estimate the height of it. It is quite high because we have had this comment from the people at the rear in respect to its height against their boundary, which is a good point. It's difficult to know how high their hedge is or fence or whatever they have between the two
Perhaps
gardens.
they don't deem the flood risk assessment sufficient.
I left it open somewhere, didn't I? But where did I? I've got so many tabs open.
I personally don't feel it's a particular issue. I can't answer the question about its height and rainwater spilling into the neighbour's garden. I don't know the answer to that one. But in essence, I mean, garden rooms are popping up all over the place, aren't they? And the letter which accompanied this, having read it, I felt that it was an appropriate use of space whilst the person is still alive. We don't know what would happen to it afterwards, other than its sort of office use, but I didn't particularly object to it personally.
It's taking up a hell of a amount of space of the garden though. And again, you put in,
Well, that's their loss, isn't it?
well, it is their loss, but
A lot of people rip out their gardens to put parking.
Well, they would have put AstroTurf down and all sorts, which anyway, it's another story. But I don't see this in keeping with the area whatsoever. It potentially going to create a parking issue. That road is already nightmarish parking times anyway.
Mentioned parking.
if there's-
Yeah. It's a very narrow road, isn't it?
Well, it's a very narrow road. If the concern's gone up, obviously today regarding the flood risk assessment, again, it goes back to my point, is yes, it's their garden, but you're ripping up grass where the water can soak through to stick a load of concrete down. Well, where's it going to go? There's only one way it's going to go, isn't it? So I can't see how it should be allowed. I can't.
Okay.
Chairman, did you want to note that you had some people that came in to query this particular application that lived opposite?
Well, I think we should, because you were
Yeah.
expecting them here.
I
weren't
was
you?
expecting them, yeah.
Okay.
So the Environment Agency
Although there's
said
nothing online.
the flood risk assessment wasn't
So they
suitable.
took, right,
So
it doesn't,
it-
there's nothing on it.
It says in the absence of an acceptable flood risk assessment, and then it goes on to say
Yeah.
that it doesn't cover enough and in the way that it
Yeah.
should. So there's clearly there's an issue there.
concerns. Yeah.
And they said even if there is an acceptable flood risk assessment, they'd probably want other conditions on it as well.
Yeah.
So there's clearly an issue there with flooding that they're concerned about. I mean, my concern was just, I think I put down we should discuss it, didn't I?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
it just
yeah.
Which we are.
it's just really, really big. It's really quite large to go in someone's back garden. But again, North Somerset have had a look, or Highways have had a look at it, and they've said that the parking is sufficient, I believe.
I I think
The
there's
the
a
highways
bit of-
report went up yesterday, so it's all very fresh.
I think there's a bit of off-street parking in front of the house, and I think the person in question that's going to be living in there, of course, doesn't drive.
But they are going to require one cycle parking space to be installed.
And of course, the other thing is, I mean, it could be elevated. It might be on decking, wooden structure built up on decking. It doesn't necessarily have to be a concrete slab.
Yeah. So I think we let the Environment Agency deal with North Somerset with that stuff. And then I go, what do we make a judgment if we assume that everything else is okay? Do we then object or not object to it? Is I guess where we need to go. So if you assume that they've done the flood risk assessment, the Environment Agency
And the parking.
do that, and they put in the extra cycle space. Is that enough for us, or do we feel we should object on it?
Well,
And I wasn't sure, which is why I just put discuss.
Yeah.
I mean, I personally think it's completely out of keeping. It's an absolute mammoth construction at the back of a garden. And yes, the quite sizable gardens, but I just think, to me, it just, no. Again, this is a can of worms. Again, one gets it, they'll all see it, all boom.
Yeah.
Before you know it,
Good point.
you've got 10 granny anchors popping up everywhere. I don't think it's.
but then,
Right.
as you well know, I mean, you open any design or garden magazine at the back, you'll always find plans for garden rooms and move your office out to the back garden, that sort of thing, which is clearly just what they're doing, but a self-build one.
There are certain things
footprint,
they can do under permitted, can't they? So you can put a temporary structure up under permitted, but this is a little further than that, isn't it? Yeah. Which is
It's going to be a living place, isn't it? It's a
Yeah.
granny annex. So it's going to have to meet building requirements in terms of insulation, etc., for someone to live in it. So it can't just be a wooden timber decked area. It has to be a proper structure, i.e. with concrete or block floors or whatever and solid walls. So
Quite likely, I'm not denying that,
I think I think because there's a bit of information that's kind of missing, isn't it, to a degree? We're having to make some assumptions, aren't we? Yeah.
I mean, when you say it might open the floodgates, I think if you look at all the houses up the top that have got really big long gardens, where they've all had other houses built in their back gardens, literally every single one, haven't they? And that's what opening the floodgates looks like. So I guess if we say yes, we'll allow somebody to put a really big structure in their back garden, then you've got to accept pretty much that anyone with a large back garden is going to be able to do exactly the same.
But bear in mind, of course, there's no access to this other than through the house, so it can never become an independent dwelling.
Yeah, they
Hello.
do know.
I'll never say never.
Well,
it's
The access is through. There's a side access in there, like a driveway to or pathway to the back garden.
There's a statement in the design and access, statement. It says the proposed building hereby permitted should not be occupied at any time other than for the purpose ancillary to the residential use of the dwelling. So it's, yeah, I mean, I think they.
Is that time limited or? Because there was something in there saying that it wouldn't be used for something else for 3 years, I think.
Right, okay.
But I can't remember which document that was in now because there was loads of them.
I'm going to propose no objection. Is that got a seconder?
yeah, I think so.
Good.
Okay. All those in favour of no objection?
Just us two.
All those against?
Yeah, it's
Carried.
So
Okay.
objection then, yes?
Objection.
Yeah.
Okay.
On what grounds then, principally? We have to have some wording.
I think it's out of keeping with the area. It's an extremely large construction in the back garden, which could then potentially, others, if this was to get through, others will see it and they'll say, actually, well, they can do it. I'm going to propose it. And once it's done, that's it. The floodgates are literally open. We can't stop it.
Does overdevelopment of site cover that?
We'll try it.
It's a planning term, isn't it?
Yeah.
We use that one quite a lot. It's a relatively small site and a narrow
I was gonna say
road.
It's probably more out of keeping with the area, isn't it? Are you going to see it from the roadway?
Yeah. So
No.
overdevelopment probably.
I wouldn't say you wouldn't
Yeah.
see it from the roadway.
It's difficult to know, isn't it? Because there's a whole load of other reasons that we wouldn't want it there, none of which are really planning reasons.
No.
So it's like,
Well,
so do we go over development? I mean, is it? Do we go with not in keeping as well? There's, but then it's not a. It's difficult because it's like an annex, isn't
Well,
it?
yeah, but it is. But it's that the whole area. They're all kind of stone-looking houses. They're all lovely houses down that road. So that's not reconstruction out of stone.
They're all stone cottages, aren't they? Down there?
Yeah, they are, yeah.
Cottage-class houses, yes. So
Yeah.
some of them are quite big. Yeah, I mean, overdevelopment. I think I think out to keep it in overdevelopment for the area.
Yeah.
And I think we also lend to the recent flood risk that's been raised last afternoon that there are concerns that the current flood risk assessment doesn't take into account the adequate risks.
I'm
for the
not-
area.
You just note that because they'll pick it up anyway.
I'm not in any way denying it's a bland building.
Looks like a parker.
But
It does.
It may well be a
Right.
timber-clad building, but again,
I
it
mean,
goes back to my
perhaps
point. Well,
Perhaps
hold
it's
on a minute. You've got lovely stone-looking houses at the front. Yes, you might never be able to see all of it, but the neighbours can out their back windows.
Yeah, true.
Do you think that's a spelling mistake? Do you think be cedar land?
So to not.
Or
not
is that
in
a brand
keeping.
name, Cadrell?
Overdevelopment.
Not to keep in the area, which
it plastic
includes
stuff?
overdevelopment of a
Well, it's a concrete thing, isn't it?
And
Concrete
the
plastic combination.
the
environment.
environment agency
Concerns.
flood risk concerns. Yeah, that would
Trying to have a look
that would
like
cover it,
this.
wouldn't that?
And perhaps if it's a smaller building, there wouldn't be,
They
the
could
concerns would
they
be.
could put a smaller under permitted development, couldn't they?
Right.
As long as I'm not sure they can live in it under permitted
Cedar
development,
cladding,
can they?
I don't think so.
They could put an
There is a
extension on their
cedar
house.
Oh, so
and
it is,
live in
it's that
and live in
plasticky
that.
stuff, I think,
Yeah.
isn't
I'm
it?
not sure they could.
Yeah,
Maybe that's a one with a certain size. It's single story, isn't it? And can they go out?
There's
Yeah,
plastic,
yeah.
plastic cladding.
plastic cladding.
Yeah.
We should see it everywhere now, don't we? Thank you, Sharon.
You might find it's not actually plastic. It might be the cement rend.
Some-
Oh, well,
Composite.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
what Martin's just mentioned, yeah.
But it goes back to my point though. When you look at it, it's oversized, not in keeping with the area. And I say, as I just said, the neighbours as well. You know, they're going to see it. The neighbours will see
The
it.
neighbours will obviously see it, which is why they were concerned, but yeah, and we were expecting them here this evening. But,
So far we've got out of keeping with area, large structure setting precedent, overdevelopment, existing flood risk assessment, insufficient.
Yeah. Or concerns raised with existing flood risk assessment by the Environment Agency.
So
We can only note it obviously because it's only gone on today. So
does anyone know who was going to be here, who's not here to talk to it?
there was the neighbours at 33 Victoria, directly
bottom
behind.
Like the rear boundary.
So if they do
Oh.
contact at some stage, they need to go online and put their
They-
objections
the
on
officer's
there, yeah?
supposed to come in,
Yeah,
Yeah.
because there is nothing at the moment on
No,
comments.
no
No.
comments.
Okay, so,
Yeah, but if they've missed us, then their next opportunity is to get online in there.
mhm.
I did send them along to the library to use their online system.
Okay.
Right, moving on, yeah.
Okay, so,
one second, do we need to vote on that then? don't we,
yeah,
Sharon?
you do, yeah.
I thought we already
That's
had.
it.
No, you need to vote on the
No, Roger,
wording.
Roger made the objection and we didn't have a seconder either, I don't think.
I'll second the
You did a
objection.
second, okay.
Yeah.
And then a vote, please.
I'll abstain on that one.
So you abstaining, Martin? Yeah. 4 in favour, okay.
See, we do disagree. It's true. No, we don't. Just not you.
Democracy in action, you
It
say?
is, absolutely.
Precisely. Okay, guys. 2233, 29 Brampton Way, certificate of lawful development for the proposed erection of a single-storey rear extension. Nothing of note, I don't think, on that one.
Nothing on
I can't
board.
quite picture it personally, but I don't think I have any concerns about it particularly. I think it's fairly innocuous, single-storey.
I was going to say,
Quite
it's a
innocuous.
certificate of lawful
Yeah, it's a single
development,
story,
so
isn't
we
it?
don't
Yeah.
really have to do anything anyway.
No.
Proposer for no objection then?
Propose it.
Ben and Tim, all in favour then? No objection, all unanimous, yeah. Okay, 7 Rally Rise, 22440, full planning application, proposed lofted conversion and erection of a rear dormer with a balcony, partial replacement of existing rear pitch roof with a flat roof, and extension alteration of the existing front porch with the creation of a gabled roof above. Removal of 2 roof lights, replacement of multiple windows, and replacement of solar panels on the south elevation. Okay, right, fine. Most of you have put no objection, apart from me. The reason being is, in my opinion, that the rear elevation, of course, is the one that we all see walking along Nor Road. And you have to picture this, which I think is quite intrusive and ugly. You have to picture that in the current row of houses, of which this is one, obviously, all nicely flat roofed. None of them have done anything in their roofs, and then they want to do that in theirs. I think it's overdevelopment of that particular house. I feel it will upset the street scene. And if they want to achieve this, I think they could have done it with Veluxes. Even the Veluxes are open out. But my feelings are that we object to it on the grounds.
I was going to say, isn't there another one along there that's had something similar done? Or is it?
You might find much further on, but from the end of the Nor Road opposite the Windmill old properties, that row is, including that one, that nothing has been touched in the roof lines. So they're all forming.
It's the same ridge height.
Yeah, same ridge heights, yeah, throughout.
Yeah, I think I'm just thinking of what looks to be number 1 Rally Rise, which has had a massive extension on it. That's as you turn into Frobisher Avenue and Rally Rise, it's on the left, and it's twice the size of all the other properties around there. As you go, I've just driven past it a few times and gone, wow, that's big. Which is what made me think maybe they'd done something similar. But yeah, I can see it is twice the width of the other houses, but got no idea if it's any higher. But yeah, from my perspective, I'm not that worried about it, to be totally honest. But that's just me.
Well, my grounds of objection would be permanent change to the street scene and ridge heights. Overbearing development. It's an ugly extension.
There's so many different houses and shapes and everything as you go up Nor Road, because I mean this is where it is here.
Yeah.
I mean
Just by the footpath going up.
Yeah. It's like route back up from the Windmill.
1, 3, 5, 7.
So yeah, I mean it's
got to be that one just there, I guess.
I think it's the one with the conservatory.
Yes, it is. Yeah, it's just on the left.
It's like a hexagon shape on the back, white one.
Yeah.
I mean, I think my point is still this. I don't think I've got any objections, given that there's so many different houses and shapes and everything as you approach that. I mean, we've got all of these.
Well, there are. I don't disagree with you, but the ridges and the roofs are all very similar. No one's as yet on that stretch done anything untoward with the ridge and roof line.
But the backs of them, back onto the road, they're all a mixture of all sorts, though, aren't they?
Well,
I get your ridgeline argument, but
they're all from the same era.
Yeah, they are, but they're all very, very different when you look at them.
They've been substantially altered over the years.
Yeah.
I don't.
But this is an alteration which is going to be slightly unprecedented, in my view, on that stretch. And I don't like it. I don't like it.
The view and people behind them to see.
No, because it comes out at the ridge. It comes out at the ridge line.
Oh, right, yeah.
So it wouldn't do that. And it's creating a balcony at the front. You know, it's probably one of those developments, if it gets through, which I'm sure it will, then you might sort of look at it in 5 years' time and think, oh, well, it's not that bad, I suppose. But
I personally have a massive issue with it, but
Well, I presume not, because most of you.
I feel the same. I mean, it's one of those houses as you drive down Law Road, isn't it? That you don't really see.
We don't. 'Cause you kind of, it's bizarre, I think, because Norway's is so high up. You kind of you've got such a trek before you kind of get to the kind of drive height, let alone house height on some of them.
But if you're walking, then you'll see it.
Well, I tell you, okay then. So when I'm doing Santa's sleigh in about 4 weeks' time, I will have a look.
Did you call on our house this year? You missed us last year.
But we didn't come round your neck of the wood last year. This year we're neck of the world.
I can see that I'm on a bit of a losing wicket here.
There are a variety of heights. It looks like I'm on Google Maps Street View and trying to look back at all the houses as you go along, and there's a mishmash, to be totally honest, along there.
If it was a complete uniform ridge line for as far as the eye could see, I could agree, but as it stands,
some of them are pretty damn ugly anyway along there. Looking at that one in particular, that's
would one of you like to make a proposal then?
I can propose. No objection.
No objection.
I can second that. Sorry, Mike.
Voting?
Yeah.
How are you all feeling about that? I haven't got
Sorry,
unanimous.
Mike.
I'll abstain again, Sharon.
So later on, when it becomes a massive issue, you'll be able to just sit there and go, "I told you so."
Exactly. All right. Okay.
Okay, look what you've done.
We set ourselves up for that one.
Oh well, Two Avon Way has been withdrawn, isn't it?
Yeah, that's one thing, yeah.
It's been withdrawn. Did you all look at that? Interesting.
It's not a freeze.
It's been withdrawn, yeah.
We move on. Next.
How would you have felt about it? It might come back. Moving on.
Quickly.
Lake planning applications, okay, 156 Merlin Park, 2916. So this is TPO, so we don't really need to deal with that. 2229, full application for 85 West Hill. That's the large house on the very corner as you're sweeping around towards Springfield, going off on the right. I've looked at the plans in detail. I don't have any objection to it. I think it's perfectly nice what they're planning to do.
Okay.
And it seems okay.
Yeah, quite happy with that.
Was that Martin seconding then?
I propose Martin
Yeah.
second,
Second,
yeah.
yeah.
And all in favour, no objection.
No objections to it.
Yeah. Trust you've all had a look at it. 33 Beechwood. This is another non-material amendment, which has been through about 4 times, isn't it? I think there are 2 on this one, aren't there?
yeah.
Oh, no, it's Woodside. I beg your pardon. I'm thinking
Yeah,
I'm
Woodside's
mixing them up. Yeah.
Yeah.
So non-material amendment to application, erection of balcony in the rear. I have no objection to that one.
Yeah, me neither.
Okay.
You second, Roger?
Okay, yep.
All in favour? Yeah. Unanimous.
Yeah.
It's in your ward, Tim, isn't it? Both the Woodside ones, again, none. Well, no, the second of them is a full application with proposed replacement of front carport with a single-storey garage. Martin and I went down to 4 Woodside. I mean, the work's all underway.
Yeah.
We didn't have any particular feelings about what's going on there. I can't see any problems with
No.
converting the carport into a garage.
Not at all.
So I don't have any objections to any of
It's a
this.
nice structure, isn't it?
Yeah,
I mean, it's just sitting down, isn't it, amongst the,
Yeah.
it's not going to affect anybody, really.
Martin seconding?
Yeah, and we're all in favour
All in
of that.
favour of that?
Yeah, no
Yeah.
issues from
Is
me.
it-
Emma? Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that on both of the ones for 4A Woodside?
Yes.
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 So we do no objection on both of them.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's
So
fine.
that's for 2298 and also 2318, which is the full application, yeah?
Yeah.
Yep, yep. Indeed. Must be costing them a fortune putting all these applications through. 2316, 370 Nor Road, request to discharge condition 5 for proposed surface water Watsits.
That's fine.
It's just drainage. They're obviously going to put a solid front garden, for their vehicles. Okay. Lake consultations, draft order, North Somerset Council Town Police Causes Act 1847. Section 21, Portishead Town Council has been invited to comment on the temporary closure of the High Street with the Christmas lights switched on. Well, that's done and dusted, isn't
So,
it?
so I could stop there a second. I need to now declare an interest, obviously, 'cause I wasn't aware of that sheet, obviously. So I need to declare
Yeah,
an
that was
interest.
a late
Oh, yeah.
consultation
Yeah.
for Ben, yeah.
So I need to
Okay,
declare an
Yeah.
interest now because
That's
I'm
fine.
part of the committee, so I won't be voting on this
That's
one.
okay. But do we need to vote on it?
Hmm?
No, we don't need to vote on it, do we?
Will do.
Got no objection, I think.
Yeah, it's all object, just for Ben.
Yeah, seconded. Oh, no.
But I'm puzzled by the next one. Why are they closing it on the, it's the old market thing,
So it's
isn't
the
it?
Christmas market.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
what it
Yeah,
is.
just
Yeah, yeah.
Victorian afternoon.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, no objections then, no, presumably.
So it was no objection to both of those, Mike?
Yes.
You proposed that, have you?
No, just to both of what? I got lost
Closures
in
of the
words.
high street.
There's too many words in that.
Yeah, sorry.
You
The
can,
first- the
you
first-
Christmas
take
lights
them both
switch on.
together because Ben's only not allowed to be part of one of them, is that right?
So what?
You were allowed to be part of the Christmas one?
No.
The Christmas
Okay.
Lights on
market?
I can't, no.
No, the
Christmas
other-
market?
Christmas market,
Same as,
Victorian evening.
I can't vote on it.
that's what I just said.
Yeah.
He thinks you can.
No,
Oh,
I
right,
can't,
no,
no.
obviously
I
not.
can't, no.
That's what I was
But the rest of
saying.
us are all
Then we
in
can't take
favour
them
of
together.
seeing the high street closed, aren't we?
Martin, did you second that? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And then the final one is, two, no, there's two, aren't there? Where are we? Just, yeah. Marjoram Way, 19th of December. So there's that, and the 18th, the day before, on Wetlands Lane,
That's all?
closing the road.
Or,
Don't know.
Which one's this?
Road
Wetlands
traffic,
Lane.
the two
Okay.
closures, probably Wessex Water or,
Are they just for
Yes, it
noting?
says here, look, Wessex Water. They've not got this because it's late applications that have come in.
I see. Oh, yes, it
That's why
does.
it's in yellow.
Oh, yes, right.
well, get me there.
Wessex Water, digging the road up.
You were nearly late to the meeting and now you're nearly late to these late applications. I mean, come on. So I'm going to buy you a watch for Christmas.
Now I'm going to
10
involve
minutes
you in the
forward.
consultations. Here we go. Do you want me to read all this stuff out?
So are you going with all the same proposers and seconders and you're all happy with it, apart from Ben not voting on the
Having
first
to
two, which is
abstain, yeah.
the Christmas lights and
Mhm.
Christmas
Everything towards
market.
Christmas lights, I
Yeah,
can't go
and the
with
Christmas
it.
market.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
just clarification. So they're asking, is the Christmas lights switch on the 27th of November? Do we have an objection to? Is that what they're asking?
Yes,
Yeah.
Or do we have an objection to the Christmas market on the 10th of December?
Yeah.
yes.
Just checking.
Do you want to opt out of your involvement and do you want to vote against
We've
them?
excluded him.
No, it's been
She's given
excluded.
a
And I'm staying
declaration.
excluded. My goodness gracious me.
Do you not have to go and stand behind that panel over there?
Councillors, do you want me to read all this stuff out about biodiversity supplementary plan document?
No.
No. Anyway, if you wish to make a comment before the 27th of this month, please do so.
We've all got the notes and links, haven't we?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
ditto, if you want to make comments before the 17th of November on the Wraxall and Phelan neighbourhood plan, you are welcome to do so.
And we should.
I was going to say, it says here the
It's
town council.
Town council comment, not public comment.
Yeah.
Mhm.
As of course, the town council has been invited, so I think we should respond. I wish them good luck for one, but I think these things are good, aren't they? I think we're proving it, aren't we?
Would you wish to do it on behalf of
I don't mind
the
doing
town
it.
council?
I don't
In your
want putting a
role?
response in. I'll do it.
Okay.
Yeah, that's quite.
17th of November, I'll do it.
You just need to put something supportive in, I think, yeah.
So you're going to agree any words here and now for that?
Or do you want me to send you an email around? We'll do an email, it'll be easier.
Okay.
I'll whiz an email around in the next 48 hours. And I'll
Yeah.
get it on before I go away next.
Referring perhaps to the fact that ours was passed on
As
July the
and
10th
it's,
or
and it's,
whatever.
you know, it's proven fruitful already
Yeah, yeah.
in ensuring that developers actually pay attention to it, and also Northumberland as a council pay attention to it, and it benefits the town.
For 2 years, Mike.
What? Will you stop being so negative? You're sucking the life out of me tonight.
I'm going to
Honestly.
move over today. Yeah, it's really bizarre. When the Colga Street application went in for last month, for I think 90 houses outside the settlement boundary
Where are we talking?
in Colgasbury,
Oh, yeah.
outside settlement boundary, and on the floodplain, and everything else going against it. And they had 1,100 odd comments,
That's still something through.
and most of them were against. And Richard Kent said, yeah, they have got the town plan, but it's out of date, it's 2 years old. I said, are you serious?
Huh?
And it got through, did it?
No, we all voted against
All right.
North Somerset, they were against
Good.
ideas on it. So, yeah, it was kicked out.
So it
But
should
it's
be.
crazy.
It's absolutely ridiculous.
It's absolutely stupid, really. All of that, all against it. And then his comment saying the town plan's 2 years old now, so it's out of date.
Is that just doesn't like town plans, is it, by any chance?
No.
I mean, it just shows, I know we're digressing a bit, but it just shows, doesn't it? If you don't listen to the people, what's the point in allowing them to comment on something? That's the reason why you do it. So one officer should not be able to ride roughshod and say, actually, it's going to go ahead anyway. They should be held accountable by us as town councillors, and then the residents as well. They should be listened to.
And us as councillors.
Yeah, well, I think this goes back to the point, isn't it? But we'll digress, otherwise it'll be a very long conversation. Anyway, moving on. 10 item 10.
Oh, I was going to say, before you do that, we missed one off the thing because we're not a consultee on it, but it was a Portishead branch line one. And I just
yeah.
wanted to note for us that that I think that's the archaeological survey
It
done or
is.
something, and that's just a milestone
Yes.
in the journey towards getting a train line reinstated.
What, a diesel train line in the 21st
Yeah,
century?
yeah, diesel
or
train line
mid-21st
in
century?
the mid-21st
Behind the back
century.
of a local housing estate and
Yes.
a local school. That one.
Yes, yeah, that's the
That's
one.
the one I
Yeah.
thought they were going to spend £150 million on, yeah.
So,
What a waste of money.
so yes, excuse me, milestone in
Yes.
the development of a new facility for Portishead, paid for by WECA and North Somerset for the sole benefit of the residents of Portishead. Just thought I'd mention that in passing.
Indeed, and of course
Unfortunately, it's diesel.
And kicking all the animals out the area as well, and the lovely deers that walk across that area about 6 o'clock in the morning when I watch them.
Ideas.
Honestly,
Don't
so
want
many
them.
beautiful
What's the
deers
matter
down
with
there.
them?
Absolutely loads of them. Yeah.
Oh, well, then
Yeah,
it's
the
up there.
environmental team been down there shooting newts.
Down there, mate.
Is this an actual comment you want to put through,
About
or you just noted
about
that,
the branch
noted
line.
against
Just
that?
Just wanted to note that
Okay.
it's a milestone in the development of the
So we
Portishead
put that
Railway.
just as a discussion, we're not going to
Portishead
send it
Railway.
on.
That we're
No,
very,
no,
Just a
just-
discussion on a minute.
that we're very
Just
pleased.
note
Okay.
it, yes. It just for
It's a note.
the
No, that's
minutes to say, you know, the stuff is going on.
But
And,
I'm not very pleased.
but Ben's not very pleased, yeah.
Can we note that as well?
Bring it on.
I think it's ridiculous. I can't. It's ridiculous.
Well, it's because you're a car fanatic.
It's nothing to do with that. Yeah, but I'm a car fanatic. But my point is, the mid-21st century, you're putting in a diesel train line. What is going on with the world? And you're kicking out all these animals from that area. You're going to cut down all the trees and everything else. It's just absolutely ludicrous. They're still considering putting in a diesel train line.
Well, there's nothing
In the
stopping them
mid-twenties.
electrifying it at a later date.
If they
Come
put
on,
the
they
electric
won't do
in,
it
they'd
in
still
many
have to
years.
kick out the animals, you know that. don't
I'm
you?
not saying that, but they could. There's other ways of doing this that doesn't have to be a silly diesel train.
Are you part of the bus group?
No, I'm not. No.
No.
Maybe just put battery trains on the end.
Well, yeah.
Batteries.
GWR now have them, the battery ones, yes, which they got from the company that was developing them.
Before we digress,
Sorry.
the Wraxall and Phelan's neighbourhood plan is open for public consultation up until the next, 15 days, another 15 days. to be out.
November
17,
closes.
Yeah.
They last more than 2 years, surely, don't they?
It should, technically, but planning departments
As till
can say whatever they want, really, and that didn't help.
as till 2027.
Right. Oh, yeah.
So
I think it would
Aren't you
depend
supposed
when
to-
they were done.
Aren't you supposed to review them regularly
Yes.
or something?
we have
Yeah.
to
So
review that 4
maybe
years. We need to consider our budget for not for us, but 2027 to allow a budget to review the neighbourhood plan in 2027.
maybe we should review it after 2 years. If only to review it to say it doesn't need any changes.
Yeah.
And then next time Richard
Okay, just
pipes
keep it.
up about something, we can say no, we reviewed it last
Well,
week.
email me then about that. Remind me, because that can be the budget discussion tomorrow night then, because that involves a cost. Obviously.
I think it just needs to be kept fresh, I think, really. Just for a case of that.
I think- yeah.
Put diesel trains in and we keep it fresher.
Yeah.
I wonder if we have a discussion down at North Somerset about.
Order. Right.
We'll do it in our group.
10.1. Planning applications not requiring consultation. So there we go. Look, got your list. Have you noted them?
Noted them.
Yeah, noted. Don't think there are any additions on there that
Branch like he's went back.
you don't have.
I have a question.
They had the hydrology one before, didn't they, which was about July time, yes?
Not in relation to these, any of these noted, but there was one that came in for the boatyard, wasn't there?
That was
a few
last
months
month.
ago.
That was
Yeah,
last month.
yeah.
Come back again.
Not yet, no.
No.
Well,
Last
yeah.
month, it was not before.
Which,
I don't think there's a decision on it yet.
The boat
The
sheds
height,
one where they were getting rid of the front door and turning it into a window,
Something
Was
like
that
that
the
they're
one?
doing, yeah.
or the other one that was down actually in the marina, which
No,
is a floating.
No, the floating
floating
marina one
office
was
or
last
something.
month, but the one
Yes.
before that as well,
No,
wasn't there?
that's
The
actually-
actual
That was,
boatyard
that
itself.
was the boat shed.
Must have been
Yeah.
September.
And we said it looked like a change of use.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have we had any response? They didn't come back about that. Anyone heard anything about it? No.
No, not yet.
Okay,
No.
just sorry. Sorry.
Yeah, the one at the on the sales office was last month.
Yeah.
Okay, so 10.2. There's the list of the ones that have been through the system. 11. Matters for next meeting. Late planning applications and consultations. Highways improvements. You two need to talk to you about Brampton Way.
Okay.
And date of next meeting then, Wednesday the 6th of December.
You all right with that day?
No, I'll be here.
Okay.
I'm saving my money.
It's nearly Christmas then.
Well, we could defer it for a week if you wish,
No,
to the 13th.
no, please, no.
To the 25th.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Do not change any meetings in December, please, because there might have to be one going.
Am I closing the meeting now? We're all done, dusted?
Yeah.
9:15. Thank you very much for your attendance and discussion.
Thank you, everybody. Sharon.
Yeah.